Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
It was named after Vince Lombardi. You play in Green Bay. As important as it is to any other team, it means more to us.
When he walked into the meeting, he looked us right in the eye. He said, "Gentlemen, we're going to relentlessly chase perfection."
My first thought was on any play with my arm strength, I may not let anybody know this, but my first thought was home run. On every play. On every play.
He did what? Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Welcome back to the Packers Corner. Gentlemen, I'm excited to be with you here in the offseason. More and more I find myself when we hit about March, I'm ready for it to be August each and every year again here. But this year, I'm okay to let it build. I'm confident with where we're at, and we got a lot of things to talk about this offseason, maybe a little bit more exciting than your average run-of-the-mill offseason for the Packers. Certainly one of the things that has to have us excited is just the positioning of this team, right? We got so many different ways we can go, and we started off here with some excitement. Schmitty, we brought in Xavier McKinney. We talked, Jeff Hafley you were a little unsure about. Seeing what we've done at the safety position and seeing some reports that have come out about Jeff Hafley, are you changing your tune about our defense at all?
Absolutely. How could you not be? This is going to be a safety, Griffey, that teams will have to put on their scouting report. He really matters. He is a game changer. I'm sure you have, myself, all of Packers Nation have been watching plenty of highlights on this kid. He's absolutely electric, something that the Packers haven't had in that secondary for a long, long time. Just how can you not be excited for about him, giving Hafley this kind of piece for his first year as a D coordinator for our team? Yeah, it's really an awesome time. And like you said, it's really been a nice little build-up. We've been getting these nice nuggets. And this one was certainly not expected, but welcomed all so much. It really is. He was maybe number one in the safety go gets for most teams. So,
well, 25-year-old, it's crazy what you can do at that position. $17 million a year for a guy at that upper echelon of his position group. I think it made so much sense to go out and get a guy like him. Let's take a listen to some of his early thoughts on joining the Packers.
Xavier McKinney, Green Bay Packers, safety. My excitement level for being here in Green Bay is through the roof. Great organization, a lot of history throughout the franchise. Just a great team. So just wanted to be a part of something special. My play style, I can play, any level of the defense. I provide playmaking ability, just attacking the ball whenever I can, and like I said, just making plays.
1 foot in, 2nd foot in. That's an interception for McKinney.
The work begins now, building, the relationships around the building. Some of the guys, some of my teammates. Go Pack, go. I'm gonna give you everything that I got every single day. We're gonna make this thing special.
There comes Xavier. Dad, what are your thoughts about us going out there and making a big splash in free agency with Xavier McKinney?
Schmitty and I, we got a big love affair between us here. We're the closest of buddies, but we had a little disagreement about that other safety we had over there from Maryland. And I think we called him a Jag, just a guy. Well, now, that was a Jag, a JAG. This guy is a YTM, you the man. You can see it. This is a real thing. We got to have our glasses up to this young fella from Alabama, bringing him on the team, filling a huge position of need with that terrific defensive coordinator that we have. You couldn't be more excited because this really kind of frees us up. That and we'll get into the Jacobs signing. this frees us up in the draft to just take the best guys available and load up. We probably have one big position of need, which is a linebacker that we'll have to address maybe with a later free agent signing. But I couldn't be more excited. I think this team is trying to pattern themselves after the 49ers and play a very sound defense and have a strong running game, and we can get into that. But this McKinney thing, this might be the next Nick Collins, the next Leroy Butler. We got a real guy now, not just a guy. And our guy who's just a guy, Mr. Savage, we love him. God bless you. You got a nice contract. Go have a lot of a good time. But we're moving onward and upward here.
On the other side of the ball, you alluded to there, Dad, Josh Jacobs coming to town here. I want to do the same thing and take a look at his first thoughts on joining the Packers here.
Josh Jacobs, running back, Green Bay Packers. Oh. Running out for Lambeau Field for the first time, it's going to be surreal. Hopefully I can make the Lambeau leap and not fail. But man, it's going to be fun. Just looking at the offense, how young the offense is, obviously I'm an older guy. Just try to come in and, bring in work ethic, bring in a certain mentality. Try to bring that every day. I talk to a lot of guys about trying to tackle me after the game, and they always say that they feel like they don't really know what's coming from me. And that's the way I like to play the game. I like to feel like it's chess. I might try to run a guy over one time and then try to make a miss the next time. So I like that's my favorite part of the game. The work begins now. Man, I'm hungry, man, and I'm excited for this season.
There he is. Josh Jacobs, of course, led the NFL in rushing, not this past year, but the year prior. Jacobs had a little bit of a down year last year with a tough season in general for the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's tough to talk about Josh Jacobs without bringing up the guy who he's replacing. Aaron Jones, of course, headed west to the Minnesota Vikings. Dad, how do you feel about the change there from Jones to Jacobs? And secondly, how do you feel just generally about investing as much as we did in the running back position?
Well, first of all, we love Jonesy. We love everything he did for us. It's a tough deal. Tough to see him go. I think, quite honestly, he got very bad advice from his agent, and he ends up going over across the river and signing for about $1 million more. This team has Super Bowl aspirations, and Jonesy, if you were on the Packers playing in the Super Bowl, that $1 million would have come back to you so fast in endorsements. And I think he made a mistake. I think his agent overvalued him. I think they went out and realized, and then right away they take $1 million more, a $7 million deal from the Vikings. I heard we were offering him 4 plus incentives that could have added up to 6. And I think Goody got it right. You get a 26-year-old kid, and you say Jacobs had an off year. He missed the last 4 games. He would have rushed for over 1,000 yards. He had 800 some yards. That's an off year, playing with a different coach every year and a different quarterback and a team that was floundering. I think this guy is just going to excel in Green Bay. And when we start talking about the draft, it sounds like there's a player from Tennessee who's very much like Aaron Jones that we might be in a position to get in the 3rd round. So I really would love to have Jonesy on this team for another year, but I think Goody got it right, guys. I really do.
Schmitty, you see at the bottom of our screen here, bottom right there, we used to have a man in a sombrero down there. It's sad to see his absence, and it'll be sad to see his absence on the field, of course, as well. How do you feel just about the fact that we're moving on from Aaron Jones?
He brought a lot of enjoyment to our football team, and he was a spectacular player. We've ranked him in the top 3 all-time Green Bay running backs. He could arguably be the best one. He was that type of player. So it's really tough to see him go. It's even tougher to see him be placed in purple. But I agree 100% with Gar. Goody got this correct 100%. We are a franchise that is known to make a good decision like this and cut away from a team from a player that's maybe past his prime. We didn't hold on to an aging player. It comes certainly down to a business, and you don't have an owner that maybe can whisper something into your ear as a GM, Goody's, I think, made a bunch of great plays for this roster, and the Aaron Jones one is just another one of those. I see a lot of touchdowns, a lot of Lambeau leaps out of Josh Jacobs. He didn't get the benefit of being on an offense in the Raiders that really was multidimensional. Jordan Love and this offense and what we can do, it's certainly going to help Josh Jacobs out. And so, really, how can you not be excited about both of these signings? I honestly can't pick which one I like more.
Well, I got a couple things I want to stir the pot on with you guys here, and I'm sure Schmitty will be a little bit animated here as well. First off, I just want to call attention to the picture behind me there. We've got, our heir to the throne, his heirness in Green Bay, Jordan Love, of course. So thanks to you, Dad, for drawing that comparison. I thought that was a nice little aesthetic to add to the show here. Additionally, Schmitty, let's look back a year ago. Your big, bold prediction was the Bears winning the NFC North. And, kind of tied into that was an ascendancy that you expected to see from Justin Fields. Justin Fields is no longer on the Chicago Bears. In fact, they moved on from him for just a 6th-round pick. Conditionally could be a 4th-round pick. But holy smokes, what a change a year can make here. How do you feel about the Bears moving on from your boy, Justin Fields?
Yeah, I'm certainly going to eat some crow for that one, huh? That's a little black mark on my record. I got to maybe tone it down for next year with these picks. But I thought the Bears were in good hands with Justin Fields. They certainly didn't think so. But it's tough when you have maybe a generational talent at pick 1, and they're going to get Mr. Williams, and so it's hard to look anyone in the face and be like, yeah, we're going to pass on this generational guy just because we may have something in Justin Fields. It's tough to see him go for a 6, though. That doesn't really bode well for my how much I feel about him. If he was only valued as a 6, that's quite the look. He'll be missed. He'll be missed. He certainly was an electric football player, Griffey, in the NFC North. He provided me with some joy. I always look to draft him in fantasy football. I thought he had the ball skills, and that's why I'm sitting here on Packers Corner and not up in the booth with Quasimodo making the big calls. So
Crazy.
Well, based on some of our prognostications then here on the left 2/3 of the screen here, we're going to be up in the booth soon because we were on a heater last year, Dad, if I do say so myself. Certainly my Jordan Love prediction, which I won't ever stop letting you guys know about. We saw the Fields trade to Pittsburgh, a little bit of a open-ended quarterback situation there. Where are you going to pull the trigger on Fields this year in fantasy?
Griffey, it's already come out that he is getting no shot at the starting job. I'll pocket him. He'll be like the free agent ad right after the draft ends. I'll just tuck him in onto the team in hopes that Russell, brings in his own masseuse and tries to take a corner office, and the team just wants none of it. Tomlin and him are at odds, and Justin Fields becomes the starter, and they win the AFC. And we play them in the Super Bowl, and Justin Fields dashes our dreams, running for 300 yards. So that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction going into the year.
The eternal optimist there, Dad. You were never terribly sold on Justin Fields. They've got a new decision. It looks like it's already been made. They're going with the colored nails guy, Caleb Williams. I'm pretty skeptical of him. How do you come down on him, and what do you think he's going to look like as he joins the NFC North in all likelihood here?
Well, first of all, I think Schmitty took that pretty well when you're rubbing salt in the wounds there. That's a little bit low. We got to leave a guy alone when he has a
I thought we were going to see some tears.
But
you'll see tears. Let's talk about Jordan Love in the next segment. I'll show you some tears.
But Schmitty, now listen to me. You hang on to Justin Fields because he's going to be a slot receiver. He's going to be a wildcat running back. He's going to be the reemergence of Taysom Hill over there with the Steelers. He runs a 4.4 40. God knows he's another reincarnation of Mitch. Who's the other quarterback the Bears had from North Carolina?
Trubisky. Well, I'm
Mitch,
thinking
Mr.
Slash. You remember a
Trubisky.
guy named Slash in
Yeah, they had
Pittsburgh? Cordell
Slash over
Stewart,
there.
of course.
Cordell Stewart was it Cordell Stewart who was Slash over there? So don't.
And he was a Bear
now.
too. So
you could. Who's that?
Yeah, Cordell was a Bear too. So the parallels are there.
So Schmitty might end up smelling like a rose. You don't get down on Schmitty too far because he bounces back. I mean, he's up and down like a yo-yo, but what goes down must come back up. So let's remember that. Now, as far as Caleb Williams goes, are we looking at another Matt Leinart from USC? Are we looking at a Cade McNown from UCLA? You know, the Bears are who we thought they were. If you want to crown their ass, crown them. Danny Green with Matt Leinart at quarterback when they had the Bears down, but the Bears came back. I'm not so sure that it's not about a 50-50 deal with Caleb Williams. And I'm not so sure I wouldn't go Daniels or May. I just, when you play at these big schools, USC, Michigan, you hand the ball off. It's student body right, student body left. You throw it through play action passes. You're always overmatched and you get to look real good. And then you get to the NFL and the windows are tighter. So all these things are a crapshoot. And I'm not sure anything's a sure deal with Caleb Williams. That's my initial opinion.
Well, the thing I saw from Caleb Williams was primarily, I don't think I saw him ever make a read and a progression in the traditional things that you see NFL quarterbacks have to do. He was out there scrambling for his life because they didn't have much of an offensive line, and he's capable of doing it. He's a heck of an athlete, and he would make incredible arm talent type throws off schedule. But that's not the name of the game in the NFL. I'm really skeptical that he's going to be able to translate very well. We see the talent. He's got a big arm and he can run, and so I see why teams are captivated by the potential there. But I just don't think he's going to be able to do it in the way that you have to in the NFL. Schmitty, what's your take on Caleb Williams for our foes to the south?
Guys, we are in trouble. We are in deep trouble. This man, black nails and all, this is a 40 touchdown, 9 pick guy every year in, year out. He can slice and dice. Okay. He is no Matt Leinart. This man, he's going to show up, Griffey. You know those white Versace shades that Jair wears? Okay. This guy, he has all the colors of the Versace shades. He might wear some on his neck. He has all the style, all the pizzazz. He has every ball in his arsenal, just like our friend number 12. Okay. This guy, he has the talent. They're going to win. They're just going to rattle off NFC North titles year after year. Give this guy 1 year and we are in deep trouble. Okay. I don't want this to come back to me like the Justin Fields thing, because it's not going to happen, Griffey. Okay, this guy, he transcends. He's worth the $50 million a year. Okay, and this is where we're going to segue into Jordan Love's contract, so that I can start to get animated, so that I can start to cry, because Jordan, we won a playoff game, and so now he found all 5 of the golden tickets of the Willy Wonka chocolate factory, and we're gonna he's gonna take over the whole Lambeau deal. We're gonna get screwed because we're gonna find out that he's not the savior that Caleb Williams is, and this is gonna be a debacle for the next 5 to 9 years, Griffey. I see it in our future. I'm getting sad about it, knowing that they have this guy locked up in the Bears. He's gonna torment us, and he's gonna get his nails painted black every Sunday morning as a ritual to summon the demon. This guy he's gonna create so many nightmares. He's gonna create a lot of tears for our friends Timmy and the family. They're gonna come to games and just get their hopes dashed. This guy's really good, Griffey. I'm really, really scared.
Schmitty, I couldn't disagree more. As you heard me say it, we got to have a little proposition here. I am as out as you can be on Caleb Williams. And for a guy that's a shoe-in first overall pick, I feel like that's a bit of a bold take, but I am all the way out. So you scratch your temples over there. Think what we're going to wager on the line here. But I'll tell you this. I wouldn't take a 1 in Caleb Williams for Jordan Love. I wouldn't even think about it. I would not think about it, Schmitty. We'll see how that ages.
Yeah. Schmitty, put your hand up on.
You sick of me. A one in him.
Schmitty, put your hand up on the screen. Show us your hand. You're wounded. You were just starting to heal up. Now you're getting all carried away again. I would like to withdraw my admonition that we need to take it easy on Schmitty and not pour any salt in the wounds. He's lost his mind. He's gone stark raving mad over there again. We're not even in season yet, and he's got Caleb Williams out dueling Jordan Love. So here we go. It's a beautiful thing. Schmitty, I'm worried about you. Lock up the toaster. Get the sharp objects. Your hand is almost still bleeding there. We got to get you healed up and get your mind right, son, because you're out on the left field right now.
Schmitty, are you going to come clean and ever just come out as a Bears fan over a Packer fan? Are you going to lay that on the line here? Where are we at?
Never in a million years, Griffey. I'll take it to my grave. You'll never know if I'm a secret incognito Bears fan. You'll never find out. I'll never admit it. I just get very scared that they have found a franchise quarterback, a sure thing, an Andrew Luck type, and we are going to be in a dogfight every year for the division.
I'm not buying it. Know who I am happy to see leave the division? Captain Kirk Cousins, of course. I would have got that guy signed up a year or two ago for the Vikings and ushered in maybe a transition like we were able to have in Green Bay. He, of course, is joining the Atlanta Falcons here, and I am not going to miss seeing number 8 in purple and white and yellow there anymore. Dad, what do you think about the way the Vikings are handling things? Now it looks like they're going to have to go all in, move up to the number 4 or 5 pick, and lay it all out on the line for the 4th quarterback in the draft. Which looks like in all likelihoods to be J.J. McCarthy. Maybe they'll go up a little bit higher and get Drake May, but how do you feel just in general about their whole philosophy and approach?
I got to be careful what I say now because we don't want to offend our potential sponsors of Tattersall Spirits here in River Falls. And I'm drinking the whiskey old fashioned tonight as we do the podcast for strictly medicinal purposes here. But we got a situation across the river that is a dire problem. I mean, I'm so glad that we have an organization that runs itself like a fine oiled machine. And instead of whatever this thing is over there, this, do you know, I got to watch my words here because this Kwesi Adolfo Mensa, whatever he is, do you know his background? He has no football background. He was a stock market guy who studied analytics. He was in the NFL being an analytics guy.
Didn't he have a long tenure with the Niners and Jim Harbaugh?
Yes, but he never was a scout. He never was a football guy. They could have hired Ryan Poles, who actually played football, that they could have hired. The absolute debacle of management that they have conducted when last year, you've heard it from me before, Will Levis is right there for the taking. I'm not so sure he's not better than the Richardson guy over there in Indianapolis. I don't know. I guess time will tell. But good Lord, man, if you're the Vikings, you have to take him with that number 1 pick last year. Then look where you sit this year. He's had a whole year in your system. You've protected yourself because you weren't going to sign Kirk to the big money. Now you're sitting at 11, and you can take a better receiver than the kid from USC, the little tiny midget who's a scat back. God bless him. He's nice. But now you're going to have to spend 3 number 1s to get J.J. McCarthy, who's a 50-50 shot at best. You may put your franchise back for 5 years. And all the Minnesota, my Minnesota friends who are Viking fans, I kind of feel for them, but I don't. This group is just beyond the pale. You can't flip and make it up. I just marvel at the ineptitude, and that makes me wonder about the Wilfs. What in the world are they smoking over there? when they go get an analytics guy who's looks like a soccer coach, I don't know. I've probably said too much already, but I'm so happy. We we have a guy who came up in our system under Ted Thompson, was a scout and came right up through the ranks. And I'm just going to say two things. What other quarterback in the NFC do you want other than Jordan Love? He's the best one in the NFC right now. Looking forward for the next several years. And our franchise has positioned itself right now with a wide open window for the next 5 years. It is going to be a joy. Does Jordan Love have a little sophomore slump? Maybe. He had a couple bad throws in that NFC Championship game, or else we would have been in the NFC Championship. But I really like where we are. And I don't know what the heck the Vikings are doing over there with their general manager. It is a debacle.
Sophomore slump, I'll tell you this. Jordan could have a sophomore slump and still win the MVP. That's how good that guy is. I've had enough of Schmitty's antics and so forth. MLF dragged a decrepit hippie Aaron Rodgers to 2 MVPs with the state of his offense. Certainly an ascending Jordan Love is not going to have any problems. Sophomore slump, MVP. If he has an average year for his capabilities, we're going all the way, Schmitty.
Griffey, if I could reach through this monitor right now, I'd string you up above that silly picture that you got marked up. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. This guy, we are in no better of a position. If things go south next year, if it sours and the kid collects $250 million contract, which is going to come, it's the inevitable, because that's the going rate for these gentlemen. Okay, he won a playoff game. We have no ground to stand on. We are going to pay him buku dollars. He is going to get it all, and he will now have to be put to the test, just like Aaron Rodgers, and try to transcend a team with a contract like that. It is a tall order. We know how it works. We didn't win too many with Aaron. We didn't get too many rings, okay, getting paid like that. It is a very tall task.
Don't you feel better about our situation than the Vikings?
Certainly I do, because we already have our guy. We already have our big ticket quarterback, right? The thing, I echo all of Gar's statements about how the Vikings have positioned themselves, and that they're now in a really, really tough spot. The one thing that they could do that be like, that kind of makes sense, is not overextending themselves and just taking best available at 11 and 24. Like, if they go up and get McCarthy, okay, let's say, and they have to spend the 3 first-round pick capital, that is a really tough look. And again, the setback of 5 years plus, that you just can't do that. That is a death sentence for a GM. If you do all that, it looks really bad the first year that he gets the full regular season of playing time. If it goes south, kiss your butt goodbye. Now, if you sign the right guy, he does become the guy. You got carte blanche. Goody's going to be now, Griffey, which that's another thing. Because Goody got it right seemingly for this year, or having Jordan Love, what we'll have to, he'll retire as a Packers GM. That's literally the position that this guy's putting himself in. He's not making any mistakes. And so, yeah, I guess we don't feel bad for our friends to the West, but it's a bleak outlook if they're going to go up and spend all that to get McCarthy.
We haven't touched on the Lions at all, but I don't have much to say about them. I'm not threatened. I told you last year those guys weren't anything to worry about. And, we took care of business with them when we had to at the end of the season. They obviously had a pretty successful season by Lions standards, but I think that was a high watermark for Detroit. They haven't had quite as much excitement as maybe the rest of us. We'll see what they do in the draft. They certainly had an exciting draft when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs last year when we weren't all prepared for it. They kept trading back and got a bunch of picks that way. So it'll be interesting. I guess got to keep one eye on them, but I'm not overly worried. I do want to address 2 more things here this evening with you gentlemen. I want to take and put our eyes towards the Packers draft coming up. And I also want to say thank you to David Bakhtiari for for earning himself the wonderful contract that he did. It was fully deserved at the time. It was also very unfortunate with the way things ended there, but I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't thank Bakhtiari for the role he played protecting 12's backside for so many years there as well. Dad, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts as we look towards April?
Well, first of all, echo your sentiments on Mr. Bakhtiari. Clearly one of the finest Green Bay Packer offensive linemen in the history of the franchise. And if he doesn't get injured and they happen to win that Super Bowl in 2021 when they were so close, he's a Hall of Fame candidate. Shame the way the injury robbed him. But here's the cautionary tale about signing a 30-year-old player to a big contract. And I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, but this is what can happen. And, about $40 million that we had no return on. So I'm not blaming David Bakhtiari for that. He clearly did everything he could. And I would just, to move on from that and congratulate him for his stellar career as a Green Bay Packer. 4th round draft pick, franchise left tackle. You can't make it up. It's a beautiful thing. Maybe we can get another one this year like that. But I would just say, Schmitty, as for the quarterback making $45 to $50 million a year, it's not a problem when you have one of those that you have to sign to that. It's a problem when you don't have one that you can sign to that money, because when you don't have a guy like the Vikings always complaining about Kirk Cousins making the money, that's what quarterbacks make, Vikings. When you've got a top 10 quarterback, you're going to have to pay him, and they never did figure that out, and thank God they couldn't figure it out and had to let him go. And now I tell you what, if it goes bad with McCarthy, they're going to lose Jefferson, and the whole thing's going to come crumbling down. If they hit with McCarthy, then they'll be all right. But they're going up to get McCarthy, I promise you. They're going to trade with the Chargers at number 5, coach over there, the Michigan coach, is going to want picks, and he's been letting everybody go. The Bears got their receiver and so on and so forth. But yeah.
Well, I heard some rumblings there with Harbaugh. It'd be interesting. Maybe he wants to reunite with the kid he coached in college at Michigan there in J.J. McCarthy. Any chance they'd part ways with Justin Herbert instead?
No. Herbert's making $50 million a year. He ain't going anywhere. Harbaugh is in San Diego, and that's a done deal. So don't worry about that. Let's talk about the Packers. Now, listen here. I think the Packers are strongly thinking about getting some heavy-duty inside linemen to become a dominant force in the offensive line with Jacobs and just become a gashing offense where Jordan Love can hand the ball off 5 yards to the right, 5 yards to the left, run play action pass half the time, and just carve people up, play dominant defense. It's clear they're patterning themselves after the 49ers. And the only thing holding us back, Schmitty, right now, for the love of Pete, will you bring in a real kicker? Get me a real live NFL kicker, and we are on our way. And that's all I got to say. It looks like, what have you heard? In the first round, we're talking Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins, all cornerbacks. I've heard some Graham Barton, the big tough lineman inside from Duke. And I've heard some also Chop Robinson, the edge guy. And then the other one is the Tyler Garton, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma, who's just a stud. So we'll see how it all falls, but it's going to be very interesting, gentlemen.
Did you have Lucas Van Ness on your short list a year ago, Dad?
He was there. I was, it was Dalton Kincaid. Is that the right name? The tight end who went over to the
Buffalo.
AFC to Buffalo. And I really had my eye on him, but then I thought, could we possibly get the edge rusher and the next best tight end and get both of those guys instead of just Dalton Kincaid? And it worked out like a dream, boys. We got the edge rusher and the 2 tight ends. Goody was brilliant again. And hopefully, and with 11 picks, I think you're going to see him move up and down the board a little bit. And it could be real exciting to see what we come up with. They say there's a running back over here that plays for the University of Tennessee that we could get in the 3rd round. What's his name? Jalen Wright, very comparable types of comparisons with Aaron Jones. So keep your eye on Jalen Wright, Tennessee running back. So a few things going to be exciting. That draft, 11 picks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on an important feature there. Goody has been hitting on late round picks at an extreme clip. You know, my favorite being Carrington Valentine in the 7th round is a guy that I've been trumpeting for a while here. He was fun to watch in the preseason. With the amount of draft capital that we have, Schmitty, good chance we pick up somebody like that. What do you think about our selection opportunities in the early going, however?
Yeah, I'd like to say that we're always best available. I think that's Ted Thompson's was his flag that he planted to just take whoever is the best person there. However, you're going to make a huge commitment to number 10. You got to have a blue chip tackle. I don't care. Like even with the 11 picks, if you're going to move up and that one of those kids are there, go get them. Like solidify that. I also in agreement. Interior linemen, both offense and defense. You can never have enough defensive linemen. We might not get Kenny Clark for that much longer, and so you can never hate on getting the big boys up front. But I really think if I had a pick, I'm trying to find who my next blue chip left tackle is, and then God forbid, go and literally spend a 3rd or 4th round pick. I don't care. Get the kid that knows how to kick the ball the best. That like make it a point to get the guy that is just ice cold. We cannot have the stress of even every extra point this past year. It cost us mightily, and so we should never have to have that just looming. And it did the whole season. You had the special teams coach standing up for him. I don't want that to be another storyline for our team. So take care of that. And those are my short wish list.
Well, you know, I hear the talk on the left tackle. Were you not happy with Rasheed Walker, though? I thought he was pretty impressive down the stretch.
Competition, my boy. Load them up. Jars on the shelf. Just keep loading up in that offensive line.
Yeah, you want to swing tackle, and Rasheed would be like he statistically was one of the best, I think, for pass rate last year. He's a guy. Like we can certainly go into the season and have him as the left tackle and be adequate. But yes, you want competition. If a blue chip tackle's there, you take them. And knowing then you have a swing tackle that can cover both sides. When Josh Nyman, when we had him and we felt very comfortable with him going back and forth. You never can have enough of those big boys.
I just saw the way that we defended the pass rush of Dallas and San Francisco in the playoffs. It was incredible. So I like the mix of guys we had there. You're right. You can never have too many. I want to see us go get someone who can put some heat on Caleb Williams and make it a short stint in the NFL for him. Schmitty will have to come up with something to put on the line for what his career is going to look like. Sure, a pleasure joining you guys here. We'll have more to talk about pretty soon in April coming up. And then a year from April, maybe we'll have to have a little Packers Corner trip to Green Bay where they'll be doing the draft in 2025.
One quick thing here, Griff.
Yeah.
Schmitty, what are the odds on the Packers for the Super Bowl right now?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know, Gar. We're maybe like 2,800, like 28 to 1. Like it's
we
low.
were 2,500 plus 2,500. And I said, Griff, did Schmitty get the money? Who got that? But give Schmitty the money. Get $100 on that deal for me because it's never going to be that low again for the next 10 years.
All right. I got boots on the ground in Las Vegas as we speak.
Get the money.
No problem. I'll get our Caesars ticket in tonight. Say no more.
All right. If it's 25, because it's coming down, brother.
What can we get on the Bears?
We can get a penthouse if they make the Super Bowl.
Hey, you were feeling confident. We'll have to see. All right. Well, boys, pleasure being here with you. I look forward to doing it again soon. Stay tuned. We'll have to keep an ear to the ground and see what the Packers decide to do in April here. And I look forward to breaking it down before too long. Have a good night. Take care.
Love you all.
Good night, boys. The Beta boys are out till we ride again.